Oh my... Oh dear God. Hey viewers, George here. Talking about episode 7 of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Oh my. It just gets worse. It really does just get worse. Clearly, the writing department for this show stopped giving a flying fuck a long time ago. Because this episode was devoid of anything resembling good. So, this episode revolved around Pac-Man getting a zit. And of course, the stress throughout the episode gave him more. Okay, fine. He gets a zit. I was down for. Well, I wasn't down for it, but I'm fine with that. That's have a common problem and whatnot. Try and teach the viewers. Who, of course, this is more aimed for younger kids, but you get to teach them more of the life problems, or not really a life problem, but like how to deal with a social, well, not a social issue, but a kind of issue that everyone experiences at some point, which is of course getting like pimples and zits and stuff. It's a common thing. It's nothing like extraordinary or like weird or disturbing or anything. It happens, and you can easily get rid of it. It's nothing big. But this episode certainly takes that out of proportion and probably would make people more discouraged upon getting them. Like, so Pac-Man gets a zit, and he has a problem with it because picture day's coming up. Of course there's a fucking picture day, or else it wouldn't be a big deal. But so he gets one, and automatically the first thing anyone with a brain cell in them would go, why don't you just pop it? Yeah, it makes sense. But no, the first thing that comes to mind is the two girls, Pinky and whatever the fucking female's name in this show is, decide to cover it up with makeup. Okay, fine. That's something that people do as well. But of course that doesn't work. They do this strange thing too, where it's like the two have a competition. It's just this random thing that fucking happens. It's stupid. It obviously was meant to make the runtime longer because you can't really do too much with a show that revolves around someone eating ghosts, and of course in the episode they get zits. Of course, these writers can't do too much with it. Anyone else could probably figure out a way to make it work. So, they have this little makeup competition to try and cover it up, and they do little funny gags where they make him look like other things, the Joker, Lady Gaga for some goddamn reason. Someone else, I think it was supposed to be like Oscar Grouch or something like that. I don't know. But, whatever. So that doesn't work. And then, the evil ghost, what's his name, Betrayus, finds out about it, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make it even worse for him by stressing him out and have ghosts mock him for it. His evil plan, people, is to make Pac-Man get more zits. I mean, if you get a little deeper than that, it's to, destroy his self-confidence. Oh no. Why? But I mean, like, the ghosts didn't even have to do anything because the town and people and even his classmates are fucking assholes. It's like, they see him, like, Pac-Man's facing off the ghosts that are mocking him, and he eats this berry thinking it's a shrink berry because he wants to hide from his problems and get, like, all egotistic about a zit problem. People, it gets stupider. It really gets even worse than that. So, he eats this berry and it ends up being a balloon berry because that's fucking useful. It isn't. We find out in this episode, there's no way you could fucking use this as a useful thing. But, it blows him up as a balloon. I guess he has no control over it. like a blimp or some stupid thing. So he is this huge balloon thing, and he goes across town. People can see him, and the first reaction isn't like, you know, what the hell, or like, oh my god, what's wrong with Pac-Man, or something common. No, the first thing they think of, he has this, let's laugh at him, let's take photos and make it a viral thing. Because, you know, this guy doesn't have, we shouldn't be giving this guy some sort of dignity or anything. He's only saving our town free of charge. Like, is this town even worth saving? Like, seriously. It's full of assholes who don't have a shred of common sense in them, or a shred of dignity, or humanity, or like anything resembling something. It's like, this town is just populated with, you know, fictional assholes. Like, even the worst kind of person that you can think of could not possibly be this bad. You could think about, like, the high school bullies that were in your high school, or that may have, like, you know, pestered you or something like that. They are not even as bad as these people, because at least they have some sort of attachment to humanity in them, in some shape, way, or form. They do. These people, these citizens of this town, are fucking, they don't exist. And it even gets worse, because you can tell the idea, the concept, once again, they had a concept that they fucking threw out the window and was like, no, that's not gonna work. The concept was, of course, trying to, like, you know, inform kids about, you know, zits and pimples are a common thing and you shouldn't be too worried about them. Which at the end, you know, Pac-Man just sort of says, you know, who gives a flying fuck? But it doesn't really amount to anything, because what they really should do is just be like, guys, you can pop these things. It doesn't take that much stress. Talk to your parents. They can get you these products and, you know, you pop it. And, you know, you can clean it up and clean your face off. And, like, tell you ways to prevent getting them in the first place. Or, like, you know, minimize the chances of getting them. You know, stress, they go on about how stressing Pac-Man out is going to give him more. Well, what? What? I mean, sure, that's one of the ways it's possible to get them, but I doubt stress is an entire, like, way of getting them. There's multiple other ones. I'm pretty sure Pac-Man's, you know, abnormal eating habit has something to contribute to it. Oh, it's just... Oh yeah, I didn't even get... I got interrupted because of how stupid the town is. So, as Pac-Man's floating off, I guess how he deflates is he farts. And, you know, fart jokes are hilarious. You know that a show or a piece of material has really hit rock bottom when they result to a fart joke that goes on for a fucking minute or two and is not funny at the least. It's... The show, the first episode was bad, because it just fucking happened. You know, it went too fast, nothing settled in or anything, they didn't try and develop stuff. And then, the second episode was better. The third episode was okay. You know, it was maintaining a mainness to it. And then it started dropping. And then it started plummeting, and then it comes to episode 7, And, you know, it's you know, nose diving to a bottomless epitome of doom. The show is so god-awful. And I have to remind you people that there are people who like this show. There are people who think this minute-long, unintelligent, unfunny fart joke is hilarious. There are people that probably think this great example of someone getting a pimple and overblowing it to proportions that are unrealistic is hilarious. This is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. And this is sanctioned by Disney. Disney looked at this and said, "Greenlight it!" Oh my god. And by the time that what should have been its redeeming message quality comes along, well, Pac-Man just being himself and just not giving two shits about what other people think. By the time that comes, it's like, who gives a shit? You're no longer interested or concerned about Pac-Man's pity problems, because it really is a very small problem that just gets, you know, out of control, essentially, because no one has a common sense. But you start looking at everything as a whole, and how none of it I'm lost for words. I'm trying to gain my thoughts here, but you become less concerned with Pac-Man and more concerned about the state of humanity in this world that these characters inhabit, because clearly the ghosts aren't the only problem this town has. I can't imagine, I can't even think of another property that went out of its way to make some sort of town or its inhabitants so unlikable, and not even on purpose. My game. So, sorry about that. So yeah, there's no hope left for this show anymore. I will honestly guarantee you right now that without a shadow of a doubt, by the time I finish watching every single one of these shit-filled pieces of fucking crap episodes, that my opinion on this will not even change, or will just get even worse. My concept, my thoughts, my perception of this show is just going to get worse, or will just not change at all, because I cannot see any possible way that the writers, the voice actors, god damn it, I have to talk about the voice actors, but the voice actors, the directors, the people who published this, the people who created it, there is no possible way for them to make me like the show anymore, because no matter what they show me, I'm always going to think, sure, this was okay, but I had to suffer through a bunch of fucking crap before I got to something that was at least good, or okay, or acceptable. And then there's a fucking game coming out based off the show. That's not gonna be good either. It's gonna be total garbage. If this is what we have, quality-wise, if this is what I can expect from the game that is gonna be coming out later this year based off this shit, we're in for some deep trouble for the Pac-Man franchise. Because clearly this is the direction that Namco Bandai wants to go with it. They want to aim it more to a kid-friendly audience. There's going to be less and less of an appearance of Pac-Man as good old classic arcade style. And that is the most depressing thing I have ever had to say or think of when it comes to a classic such as Pac-Man being degraded to something like this. And I can't stress this enough, but people are actually liking it. People are watching this and giving it positive feedback. People are saying this is what they like to watch. Parents are letting their kids watch this. You know, I'm not saying that when I was growing up we had the best stuff to watch, you know, and, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, people I grew up with or even my parents let me watch some of the best stuff. I'm not saying that even I somehow obtained ways to watch some of the greatest stuff in the world. I mean, a lot of us grew up with South Park, and to some extent that's not really good stuff. You know, Family Guy isn't really good stuff either. Well, that's more recent stuff. But, you know, we had shows that, we did have shows that, but they were not as bad as this. It's just gonna... I really... I don't know what to say anymore. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there about how shitty things are going to start getting. Not just for the show, not just for the Pac-Man franchise, probably not just for Namco Bandai, considering this is what they think is a good idea. Because they have to sanction, you know, their property being used, and of course they're making a fucking game, or at least they're sanctioning the rights for their property to be gamed. But I'm also saying that this is where, you know, television for the younger audience is going. And of course that wasn't more apparent, you know, than now. Yeah, even before, like, there was crappy stuff that Disney was showing on their Disney Channel with the live-action crap. No one really liked it, but even though they were showing that, they were much better than what the fuck they're showing with this show. You know, Hannah Montana, think about this. Hannah Montana is a better show compared to fucking Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures. I've never watched a full episode of Hannah Montana, nor do I ever plan to. But the bits and pieces I've seen, and how often I used to hear my cousins talk about that show, tells me that it was probably 10 times better than what the fuck I am watching right now. Oh, God. If there is anyone watching this, I think we really should start gathering some sort of rally together and to show that this is not what you should be showing. This is... Namco Bandai, you should not be doing this to, you know, one of your biggest franchises. One of your biggest series, one of your biggest IPs. You should not be degrading fucking Pac-Man to this shit. You know, people thought Pac-Man Party was bad. Like, that wasn't anywhere near what we're gonna have in store in the future. Oh, I just hope that, you know, Namco Bandai is perhaps a little more kinder to the rest of their IPs if they plan on taking them down this route, because I cannot bear to see some of the other well-known things I grew up with, even though they weren't even part of my time. I grew up with them, you know, being treated like this. Eh. Oh. And, you know, Namco Bandai used to be one of my favorite companies. Because, I mean, they had a lot of really good IPs coming out. But I'm starting to think twice now. Let's just say that. Especially when it comes to their older, well-known stuff. Well, with that all out of the way, I'll save my talk about the voice actors for the next one, so this doesn't run on too long. But until next time, keep on gaming, and I'll see you for the next pile of crap that I'm going to watch.